National Development Plan identifies the need for South Africa to invest in a strong network of economic infrastructure. Energy infrastructure is a critical component. The Integrated Resource Plan (IRP) 2010 developed the preferred energy mix with which to meet the electricity needs over a 20-year planning horizon to 2030. The Independent Power Producer Procurement Program is a key vehicle for securing electricity capacity from the private sector for renewable and non-renewable energy sources. By nature, the distribution of independent power producers depends on the location where renewable energy resources offer the most potential for any particular technology. As such, the geographic spread of various independent power producers varies throughout the country according to the relevant energy source, e.g. solar, wind and water potential. But most renewable power plants are located in rural areas and then in the northern, eastern and western Cape. The Northern Cape Province in South Africa has some of the best levels of sunshine in the world for solar generation, and that is the principal reason why it's now becoming the solar hub of the country. It's also due to the South African government's breakthrough renewable energy program. The process began about 20 years ago when a team drafted South Africa's post-apartheid energy policy. At the time, most of our electricity was being generated by Eskom from coal-fired power stations. We imagined a different world and we wrote it into the policy. We imagined a world where private generators could produce electricity using different kinds of energy sources, such as renewable solar power, wind farms, landfill gas and hydro energy. Solar energy is an abundant resource. The world's annual electricity consumption is estimated at around 17,000 terawatt hours. This is roughly equivalent to the amount of energy that reaches the Earth every hour as sunshine. Put in another way, if we covered the Northern Cape Province with solar panels, we could generate enough power for the entire world. Because solar power is clean and renewable, it is now the fastest growing form of generation in the world. Solar energy works by using solar cells, which is a thin wave of 2 layers of semiconductor material. When light strikes the solar cell, electrons are knocked loose from the atoms in the semiconductor, forming a positive charge on the one side of the panel and a negative on the other. Since the 2 layers are connected, the electron flows between them, producing electricity. When a number of solar cells are connected to each other and mounted in a support structure of framing, they form a photovoltaic module. These modules are wired together to form an array. The larger the area of an array, the more electricity produced. In DR, there are 95 modules in each array and 167,580 in total. The direct current generated is carried through wiring to an inverter, which converts it into an alternating current. There are 19 inverters across the field. They all come together at the substation, where the power is stepped up from 22 kilowatts to 132 kilowatts and fed into the overhead lines. When operating at full capacity, DR Solar Power is capable of supplying over 85,000 megawatt powers of clean, renewable energy per year, meeting the annual energy needs of more than 19,000 average South African homes and avoiding the creation of more than 82,000 tons of carbon emissions from fossil fuel generation each year. CSP is a sustainable and dispatchable energy technology that could domestically supply a significant portion of South Africa's electricity needs. Concentrated solar power technology offers inherent storage capacity, allowing energy to be fed into the grid when needed after sunset.
This is Coetzee Solar One. this plant here in the Northern Cape, close to Pofara. This is the first solar thermal electricity generating power plant here in South Africa. This plant has been built under the renewable energy program that has been initiated by the South African government in 2010-2011. Construction was started in 2012, late 2012, and was finished just in February this year. So since February we are in commercial operation, and since then this plant is generating electricity for the South African network and for the South African people. Being in such a remote location means also that you have to bring the people here, the workers. You need different works, different skill levels.
This capacity we're running here at, we can give 80,000 households light and electricity.
It's our responsibility to do that, and we are doing it at the moment.
The sun's energy is free. This is something we get for free. We have 200 years of coal left in our grounds, our sands, and that's all we have.
The thing is that it's actually good because we are moving into a greener path. We are leading the way for all African countries to go a greener path regarding energy efficiency.
Solar energy, renewable energy, if you can get something for free and it's working, why not?
Several benefits. It doesn't rely on scarce fossil fuels. It doesn't create carbon dioxide, which is a damaging greenhouse gas. And it doesn't use any of our scarce water resources. Wind power is now the cheapest for South Africa. There's a huge global shift from 20% of the world's electricity coming from renewable sources.
Wind farm is monitored by a SCADA system on a 24-hour basis, and the SCADA system essentially provides some detailed information around weather data as well as turbine data. And the SCADA system provides the ability to determine the exact locations of turbines which may need attention. Once a turbine is completed, it begins to create power effortlessly and cleanly from the abundant wind on site. But just how exactly does it do this? The blades are designed like airplane wings, so as wind moves over them, uneven pressure is created and they begin to move. The bigger the blades, the more efficient the whole turbine is. To maintain an even steady flow of wind, the nacelle on top of the turbine keeps it facing the wind. The blades are attached to the rotor hub that turns the shaft inside of the nacelle. Inside the nacelle, gears increase the rotation speed. The generator then converts rotational energy to electrical energy. The electricity is then transformed to be ready to be fed into the high voltage overhead lines that power the country.
Energy security is a regional issue due to supply and demand locational mismatches, notably in clean energy sources such as hydro. As part of our regional energy collaboration, we are supporting the Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC, in developing the Inga hydropower project. In terms of the treaty between the Democratic Republic of Congo and South Africa, which came into operation on the 20th of March 2015, the South African government has in principle agreed to purchase up to 2,500 megawatts of the proposed capacity of Inga 3. The two countries are actively working towards the implementation of the treaty and successful delivery of the project.